He says it has discovered systematic corruption in the public service and have been able to block a total of 42 billion naira in 2019 and 147 billion naira in 2020. He said these high levels of corruptions were detected in the nominal rolls and over bloated head cost in the MDAs.
Almost all MDAs, after paying wages at the end of the month, had huge unspent balances. And the question was, how do they end up with huge unspent balances? A lot of MDAs, if you run through them, you would find what we do, for instance, is to compare the payroll. They submit a nominal roll for budget. Then every month they produce a payroll. You look at the payroll, you see names that come in, go out as if it's a movie theater.
Following this monumental disclosure by the ICPC and the absence of heads of the MDAs, lawmakers were furious at the total disregard for constituted authority by these heads of MDAs as they called for adjournment of the hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I'm struggling very hard to understand why these people are not here. Some of these agencies didn't even send anybody, and I am sitting down here where I should be in plenary. I take exception to the fact that they are not here, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if they have made representations to you, but I think they should be here for us to discuss these matters. Otherwise, I think we are wasting our time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes.
We're talking about MDAs. What is the size and the number of MDAs we have in Nigeria, and what is the number of attendants here? I'm not even talking about whether the chief executives are here or not, but the attendance is very, very, very bad. The number of MDAs we have in Nigeria compared to is less than 0.00001 attendance here. So, in my view, Mr. Chairman, this public hearing has to be adjourned, and we sent a serious letter to all the MDAs.
The hearing ended abruptly following a motion by members to suspend sitting. The chairman called for adjournment with stern warning to heads of MDAs.
Situation where almost 100% of what the country earns goes into paying for recurrent expenditure, that is, personnel and overheads, with very little left, to execute capital projects, I think calls for a serious concern. And it is in this regard that we feel if there are frauds that are being perpetrated in the area of personnel costs, I think we as a parliament have a responsibility in line with our constitutional responsibility under Section 88 of the Constitution to cause an investigation with a view to cleansing up, the audience table, that is to bring these, practices to an end.
The chairman of the committee and the speaker, represented by the majority leader, had earlier reiterated the importance of the investigation, which they said is to sanitize the civil service against corruption and ensure funds allocated to them are judicially utilized. The committee later adjourned for another date, which is yet to be fixed, to allow heads of MDAs to appear for the hearing.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), Malik Kyari, says it will, within the ambit of law, ensure local production of premium motor spirit as a solution to incessant fuel scarcity in the country. Kyari gave the assurance at a meeting with an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives investigating the circumstances surrounding the importation of the adulterated fuel into the country, assuring that the current fuel scarcity will be over by next week. The reports.
This meeting was scheduled by the NNPC GMD to explain to the lawmakers on the current fuel scarcity in the country, which has a negative effect on the people. Over the week, long queues have resurfaced at petrol stations in most of the major cities following recent scarcity after major marketers imported adulterated products into the country. While some fuel stations are locked, the few that are opened have motorists waiting for hours to buy fuel. This problem is as a result of the importation of adulterated PMS, which is confirmed to have a high percentage of methanol.
Even though methanol is a regular additive
in petrol, but it is usually blended to acceptable quantity. The recent supply are in excess of this additive, of which it's resulted in consequences, its injuries to our fragile economy and the generality of our citizens.
Lawmakers quizzed further on why the contaminated fuel was not detected prior to the importation into the country or after. They say NNPC has no excuse but to accept its ineptitude. However, the GMD says the NNPC lacks the facility to detect such but promised to ensure such does not happen again. The committee then adjourned but promised to invite the GMD after speaking with the 4 major marketers indicted for importing adulterated fuel.
Still on fuel scarcity, the scarcity of petrol has also hit the city of Maiduguri. It also affected transport fares and causing hardships on residents. Our correspondent Beatrice Kuritsi reports that few filling stations that opened for businesses experienced long queues. The reports.
Traffic on Tuesday experienced free flow of vehicular movement around the capital city of Maiduguri. This is as a result of the lingering fuel scarcity in the country. It has deprived some residents to resume work and business places.
This is one of the longest queues in Maiduguri metropolis. It has a length of 1 kilometer. Motorists say they have spent several hours here just to get fuel.
I'm supposed to be at work. And any moment from now, I'm supposed to take my break and go out. So right now, I'm not close to the stop getting fuel. I should might close anytime. This might buy at the black market. I didn't attempt to buy there because of the, quality issue. That's one. Then another thing, the price. Someone was telling me that he bought yesterday at 1,500 for a 4 liter.
The official pump price of 165 naira per liter remains unchanged, but some residents lament that transport fares have tripled.
It's double. It's double the amount. I just come from university now, and to the Damboa Road I paid 150. From university to Damboa Road, and from Damboa Road I just come to this government house, 100 naira. From Lagos house, this is Senate, to this post offices, 50 naira again too. Now, so it is business. For if the scarcity is from government, they can look for it. They can do it now. People are suffering from this traffic. So if they have the way to do, they can do it.
At a situation where all the station close, you are the only one selling. So the project must be much for you, and we are trying as much as we can to accommodate, and we are doing our best to see everybody have do the needful among our team.
Residents hope that the scarcity does not prolong till the end of the week and pray that it does not affect prices of commodities. Bitrus Kuruti, Viewer Television News, Maiduguri.
When News Live returns, the Statistician General of the Federation says the present fuel crisis being experienced across the nation may have an adverse effect on the inflation rate. Details of this and more comes to you right after the break. Do stay tuned.
Welcome to News Plus on Viewer Television. I am Charles Doge.
Hello and welcome to News Plus on Viewer Television. I am Jerry Malik.
Hello and welcome to News Plus. I am John Matake.
Hello and welcome to News Plus. I am Ike Omatong. Hi, my name is Ike Omatong. Being an anchor has been a tremendous experience, from editing the news to reading the news. As an anchor, you have to be objective and impartial. Sometimes you have to put on a very indifferent look, a stoic character, such that you do not display your emotions. But then the stories that we tell, from politics to the economy to insecurity to education, also affect us. And as journalists, we're also affected by stories. From the teleprompter to the lights to the camera to the action to the reading of the news, it's all a synchronization of various activities at the same time. Sometimes you have to listen to feedback, sometimes you have to stop, sometimes you have to continue. Sometimes, there are technical hitches that we can never overlook, but then you have to come up with a strategy, you have to come up with your professionalism to ensure that the audience do not even know what is happening behind the scenes, and then you just have to carry on.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Live, a recap of our top stories. Academic Staff Union of Universities fumes as federal government declares strike illegal. Inspector General of Police Alkali Baba calls for synergy with judiciary to improve justice system. Plus, several killed in Mogadishu as Al-Shabaab attacks police stations. Well, Simon Harry, the Statistician General of the Federation, says the present fuel crisis, ministers across the nation, may have an adverse effect on the inflation rate. He announced this at a press conference in Abuja to unveil the Consumer Price Index for January 2022 CPI. According to Harry, the gasoline problem would cause an artificial shock to the economy, which might cause the economy to shake.
Crisis, just as we are having now, it creates an artificial shock in the economy. And so that shock is capable of shaking the economy. And whether we like it or not, you will discover that commuters will be taking, transporters will be taking advantage of the situation and thereby increasing the cost of transportation. And as the cost of transportation increases, as you are bringing your commodities to the market for sale, certainly you will be thinking of building on some amount on the selling cost so that you'll be able to recover the cost of transportation. On the other hand, rural inflation was 15.06% and 15.11% in the month of January 2022 and December 2021, respectively. On a state-by-state comparison, all items inflation on year-on-year basis was highest in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, with a figure of 18.59%, followed by Kogi, which had a figure of 18.28%, and Bauchi, 17.61%. On the other hand, Kwara State recorded the lowest with 12.94%, followed by Niger with 14.1% and Oyo 14.19%.
The Nigerian Senate has mandated the Committees on Health, Primary Health Care and Communicable Disease, Works and Housing to investigate the abandoned 400 billion naira National Primary Health Center project initiated by former President Olusegun Obasanjo across the 774 local government areas in Nigeria. The resolution was reached on Wednesday after the Senate considered a motion to that effect. The reports.
The motion tagged need to investigate the abandoned 400 billion naira National Primary Healthcare Center project was sponsored by Senator Yaya Ibrahim Oluregbe, representing Kwara Central Senatorial District. The primary healthcare centers were conceived to cover all the 774 local government areas in the country. However, years after conception, the project is yet to see the light of day.
Highly respected esteemed colleagues, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to move this motion on the need to investigate the abandoned 400 billion naira National Primary Healthcare Center project. The Senate notes that a National Primary Healthcare Center project was initiated by the administration of the former President Olusegun Obasanjo in the year 2006 to build in each of the 774 local government areas in Nigeria a 60-bed health centers, which was to be complemented with 3-bedroom flat, doctor's quarters, an ambulance, and all basic hospital equipment and drugs. The Senate further notes that in order to achieve this lofty project, the federal government deducted monies from the excess crude account of all the 774 local government areas on a monthly basis, whereas the same money with the then Platinum Abib Bank, now Keystone Bank, until the funds required for the actualization of the project was realized. And the Senate is disturbed that some of these projects were commenced and abandoned at various stages, while majority of them were never started, despite huge sum of money released to all subcontractors.
Lawmakers who spoke in support of the motion said the issue of the project is well overdue.
Mr. President, I think this is an opportunity for us to really look into this matter dispassionately and put the blame where it is, because Nigerians have been shortchanged about the project. The money has been paid very substantially, but there's nothing to show for it.
Mr. President, this is one time to make good what we have said about the 9th Senate. The investigation must go on. We must be able to lay the blames where they should be really, and something good must come out of this. 440 billion naira, Mr. President, is something that would work well for our people in the health sector. Thank you very much.
The Senate has then mandated the Committee on Health to carry out full-scale investigation into the abandoned project.
Well, the national president Stand Up for Women Society and gender-based organization Deborah Ijadele Adetuna has called for women in Plateau to participate more in politics. Ijadele Adetuna says this during the inauguration of Plateau State's Executive Council of the society in Jos. The guest speaker, Owa Daisiam, called for women to get ready to participate fully in politics.
They need to be supported in various areas. Both capacity building, economic building, political building, spiritual building, whatever, all around. And that is why we are here. After our inauguration, we're going to swing into action.
The Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, APWEN, is determined to increase uptake of engineering professions by the girl child through its program to accelerate national economic development. Charity Joseph, the newly inaugurated leader of the association's Abuja chapter, stated this at her investiture in Abuja. Suleiman Adamu, the Minister of Water Resources, has vowed to assist the group in achieving its objectives in the FCT. The guest speaker during a public lecture commemorating International Women's Day and the Girl Child presented a talk titled Equity, Diversity and Exclusion, What Unites Us.
If a girl child is brought up into engineering, which is a self-sustaining career, the most important career that is interested in the affair and the well-being of our citizens. We also have programs for women, both rural women and women in the city, and coming home from where I am coming, talking about sanitation and hygiene, and of course water, wash. We are collaborating with the minister, and we also heard it from him that he is ever open and willing to collaborate with us in ensuring that this is heartbeat, which is to ensure that Nigeria reaches the level that they are in open defecation, that this mandate is achieved very soon.
I'm rightly pleased to be here to identify with this young lady and to offer her our words of encouragement and support. And those are hoping we ever ready to collaborate, cooperate, to ensure that we make life better for Nigerians. I think that's what all professional associations are. Of course, I can say that because I've been a very active member of at least the various associations Koren as council member, Aken as former president, NSC as member of so many committees, and also Institution of Civil Engineers, Institution of Water Engineers, and so on and so forth. I'd like to once again offer my congratulations to the entire team and to congratulate Apoel, President of I think it was a brilliant idea setting up this association.
My message to you is that except we recognize the disparities, the differences in access to water, and target that, water cannot unite us. The lack of access to social services like water, it makes youth vulnerable to be recruited for all those terrible things that we're hearing about. Whether you're a student, you're a policymaker, the engineers of Aquen, we all can contribute to our national security by contributing to human security.
Maglibdo, the program coordinator, Stephanos Foundation, a non-profit organization, says Nigerians should rededicate themselves to the unity and development of the country. Lipto, who made